So good morning, final full day here in London, and today we're visiting the British Museum, Britain's most popular museum. 6 million visitors last year to this one place alone. So this place is absolutely heaving with people, and I suspect it's only going to get busier as the day goes on. Although this is called the British Museum, it does actually in fact contain artifacts from around the world, which you could say we've borrowed. If you're being very polite, a lot of people would say they were stolen, and by right should be back in their countries that they came from, but it's all part of the legacy of the British Empire that these items ended up here. So this doorway dates from 2004 BC. The details on these carvings is extraordinary. From the Assyrian Empire, 650 BC, I believe. Incredibly graphic as well, look at that. So this is the King's Lion Hunt, and the detail in the carvings is exceptional. And they actually kept the lions caged, ready for the hunt, so they weren't wild lions in the sense that they were kept in cages before they were released. And you can see the cages there of the lion being let out by a servant. So at least they're honest about what they did. I absolutely love these Assyrian galleries. This is the Siege of Lachish. Again, it's just the incredible detail. Look at this. So they've got throwing the slings with rocks, shooting arrows. The detail is just extraordinary. Spears. So Lachish is near Jerusalem, and here you can see the siege of Lachish. The defenders on the wall, they're throwing flaming torches down on the attackers, and below you can see the defeated people of Lachish being led off into captivity. So here we see the defeated people of Lachish being led away into captivity, into exile. Again, what's so fascinating for me is all corresponds with what the Bible tells us about the Assyrian Empire and ultimately the defeat of Jerusalem. There they are, bowing before the king. All this pottery dates from the 4th century BC. Again, the detail of the images on it is amazing, the intricacies. To think it's over 2,000 years old, it really is extraordinary. So this is the Parthian Gallery with sculptures or friezes taken from the Parthenon in Athens. And what's interesting is they've got here a leaflet, the Parthenon sculptures, and it says the question of where the surviving sculptures from the Parthenon should be displayed has been a subject of public discussion and controversy. And so the leaflet actually addresses some of those issues. What are the Parthenon sculptures? How did they come to the British Museum? Why is it controversial? What's the British Museum's position? And then some true or false. So interesting to see and good to see that the British Museum are engaging in that conversation and debate, because there are many, particularly people in Greece, who would say that these should actually be returned to Greece and not kept here. So I'd be interested if you have an opinion or view on this. Please do comment below if you do. People that have used this reading room include Karl Marx, Gandhi, Lenin, Sylvia Pankhurst, as well as writers such as Arthur Conan Doyle, Oscar Wilde, Bram Stoker, Beatrix Potter and George Orwell. Apparently Karl Marx used to visit this reading room every single day for a period of 30 years. This mummy exhibition is really fantastic. Again, the craftsmanship and skill put into creating these mummies is extraordinary. There are a number of things that just keep grabbing my attention, such as this little ram in a thicket, which is again really intricate. And it dates from about 2500 BC. And then next to it we've got the stand of Ur, and again 2500 BC. The detail of it is amazing. This object is called the Taylor Prism. It's got incredibly fine text written on it, but what's interesting for me is it itemizes tribute from Hezekiah, king of Judah, in 701 BC to the Assyrian king. Hezekiah is one of the kings mentioned in the Bible. So this tablet describes the achievements of King Nebuchadnezzar II, who again features a lot in the Bible and Jewish history. So the British Museum is definitely something you should put on your itinerary. It is free to come into, but if I'm totally honest, after being here a few hours, I'm exhausted. I think it's a combination of a busy few days in London, lots of travelling and visiting different places, the crowds in here as well, but also I think just information overload. So really, I think with the British Museum, in a perfect world, you would come here numerous times and you would take in different parts of the museum. Obviously, if you don't live in London, you can't do that. But I have to confess, I am feeling exhausted right now. My legs are aching and yeah, just need a rest. As I say, some fascinating things though to see here. Definitely worth a visit. So we've taken the tube to Stratford in East London, to the site of the 2012 Olympic Games, and this whole area was very run down and deprived until the Olympic Games, and they spent millions and millions of pounds to regenerate this whole area, and I must admit, first impressions really impressive. So right in front of us we've got the Olympic Stadium. I think it's actually been reduced in size. It was designed in such a way that after the Olympic Games they wouldn't need quite so much space. But it's now home to West Ham United. Henrik's with me. He doesn't like being filmed, but he's actually done a bit of study on this regeneration, and he was telling me that there has been some criticism of it in terms of the impact it's had on local residents. So some of the housing they built is now upwards of £1 million, so out of the reach of most ordinary people. And apparently West Ham United, there's a running track around the football pitch, so some of the fans complain that they're a little bit away from the action. But still, it's fantastic to see what they've done to the site. Oh look, Iron Maiden performing here soon. And they've got this rather interesting sculpture which was built for the Olympic Games. There's a viewing platform up there. But this was, as I say, a very run-down part of London. It's now become quite a hip place where people are moving into, and it's got apparently quite a good vibe. Anyway, we're just going to have a wander around, see what we can see, and then the plan after this is to jump on the DLR, Docklands Light Railway, and head down to Greenwich. So I happened to be out of the country whilst the 2012 Olympic Games were taking place, but they were a tremendous success. Before the games actually started, there was a lot of negativity about the games. It wasn't going to be successful, waste of money, all that sort of stuff, but the games themselves were a tremendous success. British athletes did particularly well, and yeah, so as I say, it's interesting to come and see this place for myself. It wouldn't have been a place I would have chosen to come to, but Henrik was keen to come here. Anyway, just show you this structure behind me, because it's quite interesting. So as I've just mentioned, this unusual sculpture, I don't know if that's what you call it, anyway, this construction was built for the Olympic Games, and it has the longest and highest slide definitely in the UK. It might be in Europe, and you can see it all the way from the viewing platform at the top all the way down. Apparently it takes 40 seconds to get down. So it actually says this is the world's tallest and longest tunnel slide. So lots of tables here and food kiosks, but everything is closed, which is a little bit strange. It's just gone about 3:30 and you would expect it all to be open and buzzing with life, but no.
It was. I realised that now.
So before this area was regenerated for the Olympics, according to Google, this area was a mix of industrial wasteland, derelict buildings and polluted waterways, including railway sidings, bus depots and various industrial functions. Now you can see it's a very large green space, children's playground in front of us. The V&A obviously have a presence here, the Victoria and Albert Museum. So what a transformation from what once was here. It also apparently, according to Henrik, had some of the cheapest housing in London. And over there in the distance, those tall buildings, I have a feeling that's the Olympic Village. That's where the athletes lived during the games. Now privately owned, or at least I believe it is. So, as well as holding the Olympic Games here, they of course also held the Paralympics here, and here we have the Paralympic symbol. According to some information I've got in front of me, it says the Agitos, which is this symbol, is a symbol of the Paralympic Games, as I've just said, and it is Latin for I move. And the three agitos, so each represents agitos, encircles centre point, representing the role that the International Paralympic Committee has in bringing athletes from all corners of the world together and enabling them to compete. And green, blue and red are the colours which appear most commonly on the flags of the world. So there you go. I never knew that. So this is the River Lee that runs through the Olympic Park site. I believe it used to be one of the most heavily polluted rivers in London, but has undergone quite a renewal. I wouldn't have necessarily put this on my itinerary of places to visit in London, but I'm really glad we have come. It's really interesting. So this is the London Blossom Garden, and apparently it was created to commemorate those who died during the COVID pandemic. Although we're in the heart of the East End of London, it's actually a very peaceful little spot. Anyway, we're just on our way now to find the Olympic rings, which are just on the hill in front of me. And here we have the unmistakable Olympic rings. So just over there we have the Lee Valley Velodrome, and these parklands stretch quite a long way up. We're not even sort of halfway up the parkland area. It stretches quite a long way into the Hackney Marshes, so you can have a really decent walk here. We're not going to go much further, I don't think, but if I turn the camera around you get a good view here of the Olympic Stadium, then Canary Wharf in the distance. And on a nice sunny day like today, it's a lovely little spot to come to.
Whatever you put yourself through now, it needs more.
So Stratford has a major transport hub. Trains, tube, Docklands Light Railway, buses, international services. It's a very busy place. Anyway, we're going to jump on the Docklands Light Railway now and head down to Greenwich. So we're now in Greenwich in South London and making our way to the Greenwich Meridian, walking through this rather lovely park, and at the top of this small hill we should hopefully have some good views of the skyline of London. So one of the main reasons for coming up here tonight is to see this amazing view over the city. Probably, I suspect, one of the best views anywhere in London. So we're looking directly towards Canary Wharf, and if I turn the camera a bit to the left you can make out the Shard in the distance, and possibly you might be able to see the London Eye. And if we look in that direction you can just make out the O2 Arena. So looking down the hill we have what is now the National Maritime Museum, but was the old Royal Naval College. It's also been used as a filming location for a number of big Hollywood films, so you might recognise it from there. So this is the Shepherd 24-hour gate clock, one of the earliest electrically driven public clocks, installed in 1852. But what's interesting about it is that it has all 24 hours marked. So if you look carefully you'll see 0, midnight, is at the top, 12 is at the bottom, so it accurately reflects the 24 hours of a day, and it runs on Greenwich Mean Time. So we're now actually in British summertime, which is 1 hour ahead of GMT. on the building opposite, you might just be able to make out a ball at the bottom of the mast, and it might look like it's a cross, but actually it's not a cross, it's just the points of the compass. But this is one of the world's earliest time balls, and what happens is that at 1 p.m. each day, that ball would drop to its current position. So it gets raised up halfway up the mast at 5 to 1, then 2 minutes to 1 it goes all the way up the mast, and then at 1 p.m. it drops down into its current resting position. And this was used as a way of helping ships set their clocks, so they knew exactly when it was 1 p.m. So just having a little wander through the park, and one of the reasons this place is also so famous is because the Greenwich meridian is found here. Now I can't actually show you the actual line because it's in the observatory, and the observatory is now closed to the public for the day. But the Greenwich meridian is a prime meridian, a geographical reference line that passes through the Royal Observatory here in Greenwich. And the Greenwich meridian was the international standard prime meridian used worldwide for timekeeping and navigation. So we talk about Greenwich Mean Time, and it all comes from the meridian, prime meridian line here in Greenwich. So when the observatory is open, you can go and see the line. It literally is a line in the ground. You can have your photo taken on it. Anyway, it's a beautiful evening. London, despite its great size and huge population, is a city that has lots of green parks, green areas. It's a very green city, and you're never really that far away from a green space. And I must admit, this park here, like so many others that I've seen, is really delightful. So if you look carefully, you can see these little mounds all around here, and apparently these are ancient barrows, burial sites, either Anglo-Saxon or possibly Viking, and there's apparently quite a number of them here in Greenwich Park. You can see one there. Just reading that it is estimated that London has 8.4 million trees, making it one of the world's largest urban forests, and that trees cover around 20% of the city's land area. So I was saying it's a very green city, and those statistics back it up. The economic value of the trees in London is put at just below £133 million a year, both in terms of the impact it has on reducing pollution, for the benefit and well-being of people, flood prevention and so forth. So trees are worth their weight in gold. Lovely pub here for all the naval flags flying. This is the Cutty Sark here in Greenwich, one of the last tea clippers to be built and also one of the fastest. After the Cutty Sark was built, they were replaced by steamships. It's a beautiful ship. So this is my final morning in London. Got a couple of hours to kill before the train home, and so I've come to Regents Park. This is a park of 410 acres, also is home to the London Zoo. This is Regent's Canal, and the canal runs right next to London Zoo. So just walked around the corner from Regent's Park, and there's some lovely pastel coloured houses along here. Walking along a canal is one of my favourite activities. There's always so much to see. Especially here in London, lots of people living on boats. So there's a sign there, 302 miles to Liverpool. Wonder how long that would take to get to. So one place I had to visit before I left London is Mornington Crescent. Now, any fans of Radio 4 and Sorry I Haven't a Clue will know why I wanted to come to Mornington Crescent. Sorry I Haven't a Clue is a long-running comedy show on Radio 4. It's titled as the antidote to quiz shows, and in Sorry I Haven't a Clue there is a round called Mornington Crescent, and I'm not really going to try and explain it because you can't really explain it, but it is quintessential British humour at its very best. Very, very funny. It might be available online, maybe it's on YouTube, I don't know, but if you get a chance, do listen to Sorry I Haven't a Clue and the Mornington Crescent round. So I've always wondered where Mornington Crescent is. It transpires it's actually about halfway between Camden and Euston Station, so it's not difficult to get to at all. But yeah, so welcome to Mornington Crescent. I think one of the best things you can do in London is just wander around the streets, and you never know what you're going to come across, and just come across this rather fantastic Art Deco building. It's called Greater London House. Apparently it's the full of office space, including offices for some big firms and charities, but an amazing looking building. Euston Station used to be such a beautiful building until the 1960s, when it was demolished and replaced by this modernist monstrosity, which is such a huge pity. It was the first terminus built into London, and it was such a gorgeous building. So that's our train on the right, going to Edinburgh, Waverley, Bar, Birmingham. It takes about 4.5 hours to get back home.